Don't forget to click that subscribe and bell icon to receive a notification each time I upload a new video. Hi everyone, it's Mike here. So it's time for the mid-month mini mission inspiration, and the song lyric prompt for November is See My Heart, So Blue from 80s pop group Erasure. Now the reason I chose this one is because the weather is starting to turn a little bit colder, a little bit bluer, so I thought we could have a bit of fun playing with heart shapes and the colour blue. So it'd be interesting to see what everybody comes up with this month for the mini mission, how many different variations of blue hearts that we can actually come up with. So for me, I'll just put that prompt to one side now. I was going through my scrap collection and I found these two sheets of embossed cardstock. Now this was done a while ago. It's actually ripped, look. A while ago when I first got my 3D texture plates from Tim Holtz and Sizzix. And what I did when I put these through my Big Shot is I got the texture plate and I ran a white ink pad over the plate first, and then I put a piece of brown cardstock into the embossing folder, then run it through my Big Shot, and it transfers the ink into the grain. So that's why I did it twice. I may not end up using all of this, but it is actually so deep actually that it actually cuts into the cardboard. You see it's all cracked and torn in some places. Same there again, it's almost gone right the way through the card, which is why I never ended up using it when I originally did it. But I thought this would be quite useful to actually use today for this project. I think that's going to work really, really nicely with what I want to do. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to tear this. Just get the edges so that they're uneven on the top and on the bottom. I'm very, very careful because I know these are ripped, but that's fine. It just gives you that kind of plank effect. And I'm going to take this one so it's a little bit further down, and then I'll go across like that one. So we've got two different kind of sizes there, and I'm going to do the same thing over this side. And I may just rip a little bit further down on that way, and then let's take it that way there, and then rip that, tear that down, and then rip across like so. So we've got, I think maybe just take that down a little bit further on this side. Yeah, maybe a little bit further on this one. Yeah, cool. I like that. So it looks as though we've got different sizes of wood. Maybe I want a little bit of a variation on that side there. Just take that down a little bit. Yeah, that looks kind of good. I like that. So I'm going to glue that stripe down onto the background cardstock. Now I'm not doing anything to the background just yet. So I've hopefully got enough glue. And I was running out a little bit a couple of days ago, but hopefully there's enough to do what I want to do here. Now, with any luck, I will remember which way around I wanted to put these. Probably not, knowing me. Just stick that down, and then this one. Yeah, actually, I might just take that down all the way. So there's just a little bit of that wood there, just overlapping. Yeah, like that. So again, just get the glue. Just run some glue along there. That should be enough. Let me get some more of that under there because it's not sticking down quite well. Okay, let's lift that up so it's about there. And stick that down, so we've got a nice bit of kind of like brown texture starting to build up on the art journal page. Now I want to weight this down so that it actually holds it down and keeps it flat. So I'll do that, make sure it's all nice and stuck down, and I'll be back when it's dry for the next phase. I've put everything to one side to dry now, so the next step is I've got out one of my Spellbinders poinsettia dies and a sheet of, it's like baby blue cardstock, and I've just placed all 3 of the poinsettia petal leaves down onto my big shot, and I'm just going to lay a sheet of card over the top to act as a little bit of a mini shim, just to push that texture through the holes, and I'm just going to run it through my big shot. Excuse the wobble and the bobbly noises. Everything's falling over. Okay, so take that off, and now I should have why haven't you cut through? And I'm doing this on film as well. Typical. Typical, typical, typical. Right, let's put that back down. It's just that last end, because it's right on the end. I know why. Let's go back over that a little bit towards the end. I should have done it now. That sounds like it. Right, so yes, it has, it's cut through now. So I can now pop those 3 poinsettia petal bits out of the cardstock. And then I can put that to one side just for the time being. And I'm keeping the poinsettia, the card, in those dies for the second. I've got some broken china distressing and one of those ink blending tool things. And I'm just going to go through using the actual die itself as a stencil for those shapes. Now they're quite sharp and pointy, so you just have to be careful what you're doing. Let's just zoom in a little bit on that for you. And then just tighten that up. There we go. That's a bit better. So just using, you can do this with makeup sponge or whatever your preference is, but it's just to push a little bit of ink just through, and I'm going to do all 3. And the reason I'm going in from the sides like that is because, like I said, they are sharp points, so they'll stick into the sponge if I'm not careful. Okay, that should do me, I think. And then I'm just going to grab a little bit of a pokey tool. In my case, this is just a little awl. Just pop those under there, and then just gently, very, very gently, just pull the rest from underneath. So when I turn that round, I've already got that lovely kind of like poinsettia pattern on the petals. So even if you don't manage, if you haven't got a shim to get that bit of 3D embossing coming through those shapes, then if you use your dies as like little stencils, you can get a very, very similar effect without having to bother with that shim. So just pop those out and just get my little point underneath, lift, and then just gently, that's it. Uh-oh, see if I've torn that one. This hasn't gone very well at all. That's okay. Right, what I need to do is I need to do this a further 2 times. I'll try and do it so I'm not actually ripping it the next time. So I'll probably run that one through again just to solve that little problem. Okay, I'll do that, and once I've done all 3 of the flowers, non-torn this time, I will be right back. Okay, so I've got my 3 piles now, so I've redone that other one. As you can see, managed to do it without ripping it this time. And then just using that distress ink again, I'm just going to really, really carefully just go around the edges of each one, just dabbing. So this is probably going to take a little bit of time. I'm going to do the same thing for all 3. So again, this will take a few minutes. So once I've done that, I'll be right back. Okay, so they're all done. While I had my big shot out, I also punched out some of these flourishes. So I did 3 because I've got 3 flowers, I've also got 3 flourishes, but out of the same cardstock I also punched out the berries for the centres of the poinsettias in that darker cardstock, and of course I did go through the centres using that same distressing on there as well. So that's everything now ready for starting to put the rest of the page together. Okay, so next up I've got one of these MDF primitive heart shapes that I've got for sale on my website. I'm going to take the largest size. You get all 4 sizes in the pack when you purchase. So I'll put those to one side for use for a later date, and I've got the larger sized one which will fit just nicely onto my page, I think, just right there in the middle. Look, nice kind of size for it. And then I've got a little paintbrush, and I've got some dark blue Deco Art Americana. This is true blue, and I'm going to cover the whole thing in the blue paint. Give it a decent coat. It may take a couple, or maybe just the one, I don't know. I've not used this Deco Art paint on MDF before, so I'll try and get around the edges as well, so that there's no, and it's kind of dark and black around the edges anyway, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Now I need something just to hold that in place, so just that paintbrush end there will be fine. Get that blue right underneath. I think that might be enough. One coat might be enough. Let me get that dry. Not too bothered about brush strokes and stuff. Let me get that dry and then we'll have a look to see whether or not I need a second coat. Shouldn't take too long. Okay, so the blue is dry. I don't really think we need a second coat for that. That's fine, but what I do want to do is I just want to bring in some Distress Oxide spray. This is Broken China. And I just want to spritz and add some of that into the background. Just like that. And I'm just going to heat that and dry it off. Okay, so that's almost dry. It is a little bit wet, just kind of like there and just there at the edge. A tiny bit, but I'm not really bothered about that, to be honest. I've also taken now my Tim Holtz collection stencil from Stampers Anonymous, the wood grain one. I've just taped it down onto my craft mat, just with a little bit of stencil tape. I'm just going to place it underneath. Please stick down. Just put the piece of MDF just underneath, just position it so we get a nice kind of pattern through that stencil. And I've got some of the Ranger opaque crackle paste, and I'm hoping this hasn't dried out too much. It's a while since I've actually used it. There we go. And I'm going to push that as best I can through the stencil, scrape it down. Covering as much of the heart as I can manage, right the way down to the tip. Big blob on there, just take that over. Now I know that some of the colour from that Distress Oxide will transfer through to the paste. That's fine. Don't mind that at all. Okay, just get it a little bit uneven. I'll drop that into some water straight away so that it's easy to clean off. Screw the lid back on again, and then very, very carefully I'm going to pull the stencil off. There. And then I'm going to leave that to dry on its own. And I'll go and clean that stencil off straight away because we don't want that drying on the stencil at all. I'll be back when that's dry and that's clean. Okay, so now that we've got the flowers done, the heart's done and drying, and the crackles are developing quite nicely, so I'll just turn my attention to the actual page itself now. So that wood grain there, which is now mirrored, as you can see, on the heart. Well, no, you can't really see it just yet because it's out of shot. I can start building up the colour in the background. So again, I'm going to use some of that dark blue, or the True Blue Americana paint. And I've got a brush with a little bit of water, just from cleaning. And I'm just going to start bringing that in. And just washing over the top. I'm just going to use up and down brush strokes. Just keep that kind of, I won't say momentum, but keep that kind of vertical up and down that we've kind of got in the brush, the wood grain in that background. Just with a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of water. a little bit. That's it, just try and get into those little nooks and crannies. Just adding in a little bit of colour onto that wood. Okay, a little bit down the edge here. That'll do. Definitely a blue page. Well, that's fine. Let's move that to one side. Grab a wet wipe. And then to clear off that paint. Don't need to do a total thorough clean up on this because I'm going to be making a little bit of a mess in a second. So grab that broken china oxide spray again, and this time spritz over the top, get that dry. That wood grain is still coming through. We'll get this page dry and then we can start on the next bit. Okay, so that page is pretty kind of dry now, so I've got a distress sprayer now, and I'm just going to drop in some little splatters of water. Not too bothered about the middle. And I'm just going to let them sit for a second or so. And then I'm going to grab some kitchen towel, just a sheet, just let them sit for a second. And I'm just going to lay that over the top and then just remove. Kind of subtle. Not a huge effect. But I do need to clean up the rest of that worktop now. Okay, so again, I need to let that dry. Okay, that's all kind of dry now. That effect is kind of subtle in the background, which is fine. But now I'm going to bring in that crackle paste again. And I'm going to start layering, or just scraping some of that crackle paste down over the page, just to kind of lighten it up. Particularly towards the bottom of the edges of the paper. That should do me. I know it looks a complete and total utter mess, but that's fine. That's absolutely fine. So I now want to leave that to set or to dry, and for those crackles to start to develop on their own. Because we've got that nice bit of wood texture in the background there. It's coming through with the shape of that texture paste as well. But I want it kind of all haphazard, looking a bit snowy and a bit frosty. So I'll leave that for a good 10-15 minutes or so, and we'll come back and see exactly what's happened to it. Okay, so as you can see, all those crackles have developed rather nicely all the way along, giving it a really nice kind of frosted, kind of crackly, wintry kind of patina, which is perfect. And if I bring in the heart now, which is now dried, you can see that all that wood grain shape, all that texture has also started to crack rather fantastically. Brilliant stuff. So what I've done is I've actually put on the back some foam adhesive. And I've put more in the middle because my paper started to curl a little bit. So I want to try and lay it now so that it's somewhere kind of in the middle like so. I'll just drop that down now, just push it. And those foam pads now will hold everything in position in the right place so that I don't have to worry. Okay, so now that we've got that, I can start to construct, let's put that to one side, I can start to construct those flowers that I did earlier. So, like I said, I did it 3 times with 3 of the flourishes in the background. So I just want to start constructing those now so that they're all ready to go. So to do that, I just need a little bit of glue. Now then, let's see what I've got. I'm starting to run out of bits of glue. So I'm hoping, see, I don't think I've ever opened that one. Let's just cut that top off. There we go. You watch, I've probably still got the paper block thing. I have, look. Rookie mistake. Rookie mistake. There we go. So hopefully that will now start. There you go, you see? So just one little dob into the centres of each one. So just push that down and then grab that one, push that down in there, and then one little dob, too big a dob, one little dob of glue just in the middle there. Then I'm going to put those to one side, I'll put that to one side and do the other 2 sets. Bring that back into shot so you can see it. Right, let's try not to get too much glue on this. Tiny little dobs. Tiny little dobs. You don't need a lot. Smallest amount. Okay, that's that one, and then the final one. Tell you what, let me do this and I'll be right back when we're all stuck down. Okay, so my flowers are pretty kind of dry now, but what I want to do is I want just to bling them up a little bit. Now here's one that I have already kind of done. Now the reason I've done it, or pre-prepared it and dried it, is because it does take a little bit of time. But I wanted to show you how I did it before I then started to curl the petals. Right, so I have what they call a wink of Stella brush for those people that don't or have never seen one before, and inside here is kind of like water with lots of little glitter bits in it. So all I wanted to do was just to kind of follow the pattern of the kind of poinsettia petals, if you like, and just drop in some of that shimmer onto the petals, go all the way around, just to add some of that kind of nice frosting, glittery kind of shimmer to it. Just get underneath. Now the reason I wanted to do this before I started to curl the petals was if I curled the petals and then started adding it on, it would all run back down to the centre. So I need to do it while it's still flat, and then I can dry it and then curl them. So I'll do this one. I've already got one already done. I'll just go over the berries in the middle. Just kind of like dull the blue down a little bit, but not a lot. And then I'll do this last one. You can see the shimmer just starting to come on it. Now traditionally, or originally, these pens were probably made for card makers, but do you know what? I've had these in my collection for a good 5 to 6 years. I've got maybe 3 or 4 of them. You can get silver ones like this one, and there's also a gold one you can get. One with, well, they're all different kind of coloured shimmery bits in. I thought, well, it may be time to actually use up, get rid of them, to be honest. There we go. Just manoeuvre that shimmer around a little bit. Even though we've got distress ink on these, it's not really affected it that much. Okay, I also want to add some onto my flourishes, but it may be better actually if I wait until those are stuck down before adding all that on. So you can heat set these, and they don't affect the shimmer. Some, it burns the shimmer off. This, it doesn't. So I'll give these a quick blast, and when these are dry and I'm ready to curl, I'll be right back. Okay, so that wink of Stella is dry, so I'm just going to take a pair of tweezers and I'm just going to start gently curling up the leaves. Now you can do this by using your own fingers if you want to. Everybody's got their own kind of technique for doing this. I just like to grab each leaf with a pair of tweezers and just tease it into shape. I mean, you can just push it through your fingers like that if you want to. I like just to curl them up a little bit. Start off towards the middle and just work your way out. I've already done the other two, as you can see, so as not to take up too much time, because this can be kind of a little bit repetitive and boring. I'm just being very careful, because obviously they are only made of paper or card, so they are a little bit delicate. There we go, and that should pretty much do us for all three. Okay, so bring my sheet back in, grab some glue, use some tacky gel glue this time. Hopefully it's not set in the tube. No, it hasn't, good. So what I'm going to do is just position my little flourishes just about where I want them. Give a bit of a push down, and then I can position that that can hold there. Decent sized blob of glue on that. Like so. And then do the second one. And there. Like that. Get my second flower. Just so the leaves come up a little bit on the edge. And then the last one, I'll stick that out there. And then the flower can just go right there. Okay, so I'll let that sit and dry for a few minutes just so that glue grabs, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so my flowers are stuck down. You can see all that shimmer. I did add another little bit of the shimmer just around the edges of the heart, just so you've got that extra little bit of frosting on there. But just to finish off, I've got some self-adhesive gems, and I'm just going to put one in the centre of each of the three poinsettias, just to add that final kind of touch of ice. Because these are self-adhesive, they've already got plenty of glue on the backs, just to finish off. There we go. So there you have it. My art journal page for the mid-month mini mission for November. See my heart, so blue. I'll just flick that page over, grab some of that glue, and then I'm just going to, oh good grief, look at it all just come pouring out. That's not good. Need a little piece of spare card now. There we go. Way too much. But what the heck. And then I'll just stick that onto the back of the art journal page, which goes into my journal, so that I know what the prompt was for that page and when. So I'll just grab a quick pen. I've got one lying around here somewhere. There we go. And then I can just put November 2019. Flip that over, and then I'm just going to sign it and put today's date, which is the 15th of November. It's Friday, and then that's me done. So don't forget, if you want to play along with the mission inspiration prompts, either the main one or the mid-month mini song lyric prompt, then all you have to do is pop along to our Facebook group I'll put the link on this screen at the moment, and there is a clickable link in the description area below this video, and just request to join. It's as simple as that. And there is, like I said, a main mission at the beginning, the first Saturday of every month, and then we have the mid-month mini mission following 2 weeks after. So that is my page for November. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to give it a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. That's all from me for now. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Look at that sparkle. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. Thank you.